production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.
This time on Broad and High, floral art adds perspective to works at the Columbus Museum of Art.
We now know a lot about what beauty does to the human spirit and to wellness, resilience.
A Short North fiber artist creates dazzling and intricate shapes. Stunning visions of India from 26 artists. And the man behind the dearest sculptures in downtown Columbus. This and more right now on Broad and High. Hi everyone, welcome to Broad and High. I'm your host, Kate Quickle. Now, did you hear the one about the floral designers who broke into the museum gallery? It turns out they were budding artists. But seriously, that describes Art in Bloom, an exhibit at the Columbus Museum of Art. As you'll see, it's a beautiful combination of floral designs and works of art.
Art in Bloom happens every other year at the museum, and it's been going on in different iterations since 1996. It is a wonderful weekend celebration in which floral artists, another form of art, are inspired by works in the museum collection so that the floral design installation is in conversation either with the building or with a work of art. So it celebrates two forms of art together. There are 40 designers this year. The artists, well, they're mostly local, which is exciting because then you could, enjoy their floral designs other times of year.
I have the Paper Daisy Flower Boutique that is a full-service flower shop in the Short North. I think that's good.
Like this?
Yeah, maybe come out like maybe putting one here and one here, okay. And then kind of coming down. It's inspired by the amazing Liechtenstein that's right there. I've seen every time I've come into the museum. I feel like it's the first thing I see when I come in here, and kind of like sets the mood for this whole modern wing of it. So I've always loved that. To me, it was almost like this sun kind of radiating down. I felt like we're coming out of what's been a pretty dark period. They don't have a water source, so I had to go with some hardier varieties for this part of it. So I have some carnations, I have some mums, I have some bleached greens, I have some status, some billy balls, and a lot of this equisetum. So it was stuff that would be a little bit more forgiving without a water source. And then we have some Gerber daisies and some roses that will have the water down here. But it was really more the colors, like the pop art, the harsh hues, that was kind of driving the piece.
It's really a big range. There are really big installations, and then there are really intimate things. I think there's a living wall this year. We need creativity in our world more than ever. The pandemic has shown us that. We really need creativity to solve the problems of the 21st century.
Still got 2 more, 3 more to put on.
Well, no, we go 12.
Can I go all the way up to here?
No, go all the way up, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to put more on yours?
Yeah, I got 4 more to go. We're a landscape company. So we're doing a container garden, so we wanted to use live plants, and then also something that would be relevant for the weather right now. But we had snow yesterday, We have freezing temperatures today and then 60 degrees maybe this weekend. So we're just trying to find something that will thrive in what weather we're going to have this weekend for Ohio, and use like real plant material you could use in your home garden. So we have pansies, we have some red cabbage, we have some sod so it looks like it's growing, because our piece is based on sound. And so our piece of art is the study of strings. So it's a piece that was played at a concentration camp. All of the people except for the conductor passed away, and they recreated the piece, and then the artist then just extrapolated those two parts to show like how everyone else was gone. We're trying to do the idea of you're coming from something very flowy and organic to something that's very jarring and stark. So this is kind of the antithesis of the piece. We enjoy container gardens because they're a finite size. You can swap them out, and you can also experiment with plants. If it doesn't work, you just pull that one plant out and put a different one in.
We now know a lot about what beauty does to the human spirit and to wellness, resilience. All of that is connected to that aesthetic sense in us. But also the art museum challenges you. So coming to see art that challenges, it makes you see the world differently, it makes you question and think. All of that is just as important, and people have missed it. People are hungry for art, and they're hungry for each other, and to be together with art is the best of all.
To see what else is happening at the Columbus Museum of Art, check out the schedule at columbusmuseum.org. Artists can do amazing things with items from everyday life. Case in point, Tyshawn Freeman's fiber art sculptures. Take a look at the elaborate and compelling works of art that he creates with acrylic, yarn, and push pins.
I am an artist, I guess I would say. You know, I did want to dabble in different things. So I used the pens and grabbed some yarn and just dibbled and dabbled, and ever since I couldn't stop. I'm addicted. You know, I can't creatively, come up with something by sketching and looking at it that way. I kind of just have to do it. It comes out better while I'm doing it versus, premeditated. I'm kind of thinking now if this was a good idea with these colors, but I think I'm gonna make it work and see what happens. My inspiration was roses. If you can maybe get that from like the darker green and the red I used, and try to throw a little pink in there just to, brighten it up a bit. But, I did a bumblebee, which is over there, and a little monster, but I'm really big on the abstract. I just do it. And I like it, and then, that's all it is, really. Usually with my more random ones, I just pin them and just go along as I, and if I don't like it, take it down, do it over again. I have blisters now, trying to push the pins into the wood because I don't want to hammer. I'm in an apartment complex. Even sometimes with the yarn, I have to wear gloves now, but sometimes with the yarn and the abstracty ones, I get, little burns from the yarns. My arms hurting on the big ones, and it's crazy, yeah. I have to take breaks. I guess it pains for things to come out nice looking, I guess. I'm gonna make them purple. Well, right now I'm using push pins, thumbtacks. I have used nails before. I've just started with these wood pallets. I'm in the beginning stages, so I'm, trying to perfect it in a way where people won't get hurt if they want to take it home. Sometimes I'll take out a push pin, add a push pin, take down, sometimes I'll just take the whole thing down. Once I'm finished, I'm like, I don't really like it. Look at it from different angles. I'll just take it all down and start all over, so. I just like to see the outcome. Like, I'm really excited to see what the outcome's gonna turn out. Something about the texture really brings out the color, and you can really see it a lot better with, maybe a thicker yarn versus a thinner one, or that's why I try to use the thinner lines, with the thicker ones to kind of give it some type of dimension. People have seemed to like them. People have really seemed to like. I haven't gotten any requests yet, but people have seemed to like them. I'm kind of excited about it. See where this takes me.
Visions of India was an exhibit hosted by the Pizzuti Collection in Columbus. 26 Indian artists presented provocative, challenging, and dynamic visions inspired by the country. The exhibit also featured one of the first Indian artists widely recognized in the West.
There's a lot of stuff that moves in this exhibition, and I think that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of kinetic art. There's a lot of things that make you feel a certain way standing next to them, whether it's anxiety or car sickness or maybe your sense of where you are in space. So that's a really fun pathway through this exhibition, but there are many others. There are lots of found objects, artists who are taking things that had been discarded and using them and giving them a second life and creating out of the ready-made something new. I've never seen people so nervous in front of that, and in fact it's one of my favorite things to watch people from behind as they get that sense of worry that they're going to have to save the pot and save it as it falls. But the thing is that Sudarshan has taken this classic water jug made out of terracotta and perfectly balanced it on the wheels so that it is calibrated to turn over to the point where you believe it might fall, adjust itself, and go back. So it's never going to fall down, but part of the play of his piece is drawing out that anxiety and that wonder in you. So we have a show called Visions from India, which is actually an incredible celebration and a combination of two exhibitions. One is called Transforming Vision, and it's 21st century art from the Pizzuti Collection. So it's a lot of work, 44 works by 26 artists, all who have a connection to India. Either they're from India or they found their way to India. And then we have a show called The Progressive Master, which is works by Francis Newton Sousa, who's a 20th century painter, and they come from another private collection here in Columbus, the Rajadaksha collection.
I want him to feel the emotion that comes from his work. That is what attracted me to him, that every one of his paintings gives you the turmoil. This guy was Catholic, in a Catholic family. He never believed much of the doctrine, but he was impressed by the rituals of the Catholic Church.
So he, in India, at the time of independence, was part of one of the most important art movements of mid-20th century India called the Progressives. And they were trying to find ways to create a new Indian modernism and a new vocabulary. So he was a very important figure in India. And then he became also an important figure in Britain. And so as we were thinking about putting the show together, we realized that we had an incredible opportunity to show both works from the 20th century and from the 21st century and show two different moments of Indian cultural production. There's this incredible theme throughout all of Ron's collecting where he loves craftsmanship. So this work is very specifically hand-carved, 13-foot tall archway. It's a magnificent piece that has the swinging sword. So as much as it is about the tree of life and these gorgeous flowers and palm trees, it invites you in. It's an archway, it's a portal to somewhere. If you were to try to walk through it, you would encounter the sword. the artist, whose name is Subodh Gupta, has taken tiffin carriers, so these stacks and stacks and stacks of traditional lunch boxes, and put them on the sushi table in this array that looks both like a landscape and this chaotic sort of gathering of these boxes, both old and new. So each of the dogs is a cast of a dog's skeleton, and it's sitting in a plexiglass box that has a surveillance camera. A binary, so something that is dead that's seeing, something that is static that moves. He is really playing with our idea of what is it that we are facing, this array of dogs who are watching us. So many of these artists are dealing with themes that are universal. Issues of gender, issues of the environment, issues of spirituality, issues of traffic. Each work in this exhibition can be looked at aesthetically, but also can be the springboard for investigation into, learning something new about India.
Scioto Lounge. It sounds like it might be the perfect place for happy hour, but it's really the name of a work of art in downtown Columbus that everyone knows and a lot of folks hold dear. See if you can recognize it.
Initially, when I came here, I'd never looked at Columbus from the point of view of really doing something out in the city. So I roamed around the city and looked at different sites and proposed different kind of ideas in my mind of things I could do. But I heard someone say that Scioto River meant hair of the deer. But that kind of piqued an interest, and I started thinking about deer, and it was supposed to be kind of in this area where people lounged around and walked around and took it easy. I just started thinking about deers instead of people doing the same thing, just kind of lounging around. And that's really where the idea came from. When I do have a project, that's the first thing I do is start drawing and making notes and just kind of thinking, getting it out of my head onto a sheet of paper. And it can go whatever, any direction, kind of. So there's several proposals that I made, not just the deer. I proposed for Spring and Long Street, neons for springing and longing that would be on these tunnels that people go in and out of. There's one called the Columbus Stump, which is a huge tree stump with carvings in every conceivable language that says wish. Some of them are absolutely impossible. That's where the possible, impossible. Some of them were made. Others are just wishful thinking, whatever. So it's really more of a thought process, I think, that happens on paper. Did the drawings and had ideas of what they might look like. I got forms from a taxidermist in Louisiana, and they're actual styrofoam forms that taxidermy guys use to put after they skin the deer, they put it back on. And I used that as an armature and worked in a foundry that I've worked at for years at Walla Walla, Washington. So we set up, sawed up these pieces and built them and kind of constructed them into the forms that you see out there now, and covered them with clay and modeled the clay, and then they made a mold from It's hard to, when you're talking about deer, I think people instantly have an image in their head of whatever deer they see as a sculpture in their mind. And these are really, you kind of have to be there. You have to go look, because they've been humanized in the sense that they still look like deer, but they're also human. And as far as a lot of their joints, you would never see joints like that on a real deer. But I did that to kind of, I think, make them accessible. I think that's what's so seductive to me about it, is that it becomes really something that people want to be with and want to, actually touch. No matter how you think through something, as soon as it's there, it's real, and it becomes something else. It becomes its own life, and that's really important, I think, that it does something, that it doesn't just sit there, and say, I'm a politician, I'm a general, or whatever. This one's sitting as a deer, and it's not saying anything, it's just sitting there. And I love it when somebody responds in a way I never anticipated, or says something you never anticipated, and makes you think about it in a way you never thought, But I think that's what happens with public work, and that's why I think they're so important, because it really is something that's, even though it's public, it's so personal to each viewer, each person that looks at it. I think it's resistance people will have to public works is usually because they encounter it and they're used to the habit of passing a place day after day after day, and then suddenly there's something different there, and almost immediately, for some weird reason, different means wrong. It's bad. It's blocking something, it's doing something, whatever. And but I think over time people get comfortable with
that. Terry Allen's Lounging Deer can be found hanging out in Genoa Park behind COSI. Well, that's our show. Remember, you can find all of our stories online at WOSU.org, as well as on our YouTube channel. For all of us here at WOSU, I'm Kate Quickle. Thanks for watching.
I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. I moved to Columbus about 10 years ago. I'd like to describe my artwork as like ghetto hieroglyphics is the term that I've dubbed it. In my kind of philosophy is that graffiti and ancient hieroglyphics are kind of one and the same. So I incorporate elements of both, even though they're very stylistically different. I try to meld the two styles. I like to go out and use spray paint out on like abandoned places and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. I also like to make stickers out of like recycled like vinyl material. People throw out old like sticker scraps, and I like to paint on top of that and make my own stickers. I like to block print. I incorporate a lot of herons and cranes, and in a lot of different mythologies, herons and cranes are like kind of symbols of like connectors between this world and like the world beyond. I also incorporate the thunderbird a lot. It's kind of the thing that I'm known for. And like thunderbirds are like really speaking like Pacific Northwest Native American tribes incorporate the thunderbird, and they're kind of like messengers from the gods. And they're like symbols of like power and something like, for myself personally, for a long time I wasn't the most self-confident person, so I've kind of taken the idea of the thunderbird, this really powerful, majestic beast, as a bit of a mascot, as something that I strive to be. So I kind of, as an artist, wanted to create my own mythology, but still reference the things that universally we all can relate to. We're distracted a lot by like social media, like we live in kind of a trying time right now. I think there's a lot of lessons we can learn from like ancient myth and stuff. People, we're kind of dumb. We do the same things over and over again. Hopefully soon here we'll learn our lesson and love each other a little more.
Catch Columbus at its creative best on Broad and High, Thursday nights at 8 o'clock on WOSU TV.
Production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.